It's not a technical problem. I want to explain this really quick, because some of you are looking at your faces and you're like, oh my god, you know, it's not working out, things are not happening. Where's Mad Dog? There. Okay, I was actually going to explain this to Mad Dog exclusively, but that's okay. It's good for the team because you want to hear it. What I was going to say is this is a progress graph, as you guys can see, right? This is like 2019 and 2020, right? As you guys can see, each practice, if I were to break it down, each practice, if you were to zoom in, it looks different, right? So if you look at practice 1, right, if you were just to zoom in, what does that look like? It looks like awesome progress, right? Okay, well what happens when you look at practice 2? If you just look at practice 2 by itself, it looks like, oh no, we got worse. Does that make sense? You look at practice 3 and it's like, okay, we kind of stayed the same. So we started great, kind of went okay, and then we picked it back up, right? Look at practice 4, straight up. That's like one of those practices where like, dude, this did awesome the whole time, right? Look at practice 5, okay, it went awesome, something didn't work, and it went awesome again. But if you zoom out of the whole thing, right, you guys can see obviously from where you are to where you can be. Huge progress, right? This is how progress actually works. You chart anybody's progress. From when I was doing nutritional consulting, when someone was like dropping weight or gaining weight, it was never like this. It was never like this started at like, you know, 200 pounds and then like they dropped straight to like 150. Nobody did that, okay? It was always like this. One day they're like 2 pounds up, and they're 2 pounds down, and they're up, down, and then it keeps going. But then when you zoom out, you see their whole progress. Every progress graph you look at for anybody, stock market, elite athletes, anything you want to look at, it always looks all pleasant, okay? The problem is a lot of people zoom in way too much and then they get down on themselves and they're like, oh my god, this is just a terrible practice. It's not really a terrible practice, we've made progress. The consistency is the biggest king, the biggest factor to success. Does that kind of make sense? So some of your tumbling is right now looking like this, okay? Some of your tumbling today was like this, right? And that happens, okay? It's gonna happen to all of you. You guys are gonna have different levels of your tumbling, okay? Some of you are a little bit sore. Some of your stunts are not hitting, some of your stunts are hitting. But you can't let that defeat yourself, that's the big thing, right? I'm seeing a lot of people go through this and they're like, oh my god, just giving up. Literally through the stunt, me and Sam look at each other, we're like, that's not gonna hit, because they didn't even start trying on the way up, okay? So you gotta make sure you zoom out sometimes and realize what's going on. Some of you who were on 24K last year, I mean, this graph is even crazier than this, right? It was like insane. Like it was like way down here, and then we somehow managed to get up there. And we got lots of ups and downs, okay? Lots of downs, okay? But then aggressive ups to keep ourselves up there. So if you've experienced that, you know what I'm talking about, right? You guys are like super talented group, but you need to zoom out of your practices sometimes. If things are not working, zoom out one day and be like, look, okay, where did we come from? All right, we were barely doing it. Okay, now let's keep working on it. Okay, so don't let that defeat you guys down. Okay, you gotta figure out a way to build yourself up, whatever that happens to be for you. For me, I like to get aggressive and angry, and when I'm angry at myself, I perform the best. For some of you, that's not acceptable. Some of you just like to be chill. That's cool too. Yeah, but you gotta find that zone to realize where we want to get to. We want to get to here. And we're not going to get there unless you actually kind of mentally get through this kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So next practice, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Next practice, we may have one of these. That's okay. We may have 2 in a row that looks like this, but you can't lose your vision when we get to the end. Okay, so whether you're doing tumbling or stunting, I can't look at you and see like, okay, they've already given up. Okay, I know, right? When you did your 3 to full, after that routine run through, ask Sam. As soon as you started that first handspring, I'm like, that one's going to hit. And you hit, because as soon as you started, I'm like, yep, that's it, right? And it's not magic, it's just kind of, you know, we can see the effort. Because you guys have the skill and you have the talent, right? You guys have, that's the hard part. The skill and the talent, like cultivating that is the hard part. The easy part is just getting your cardio up, putting in the effort. Does that make sense? All right, so for the last 10 minutes, okay, we're just gonna push ourselves a little bit, okay, just simple cardio kind of stuff, just get our heart rate up so that we can have the energy to put things together that we know we can. Sound good? All right, cool.